Because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But I think that most of the world's problems are based upon somebody exercising their power over someone else.
I don't want to do that.
And I just I don't want to have any power over.
It's enough.
Anybody.
I got to control a classroom.
I had power over my children until the point that I started releasing that power, and you do it
as a parent is supposed to.
As a parent is supposed to, and you do it in increments, and hopefully it turns out okay.
Hopefully,
and you just do your best.
Okay,
and and all that stuff. And I'm just rambling, so I'm going to go ahead and hit
push the damn.
I'm going to push the damn button.
Push it.
Don't tell me what to do.
Nothing happened.
I know.
What the?
Greetings. This is the Long in the Boot podcast, the podcast coming to you from the heel of the boot of Southwest Louisiana. I am your host, G Long, and sitting across the way in her V-neck wife beater type T-shirt is Deb.
These are my pajamas. It's not a wife beater.
No, that's a lie. She's wearing a business appropriate suit because this is a professional podcast.
That's right. That is correct.
And
with my margarita.
Everybody knows out there
barefoot.
That is true. Barefoot, margarita, wife beaten.
Yes, that's me.
There you go.
Sexy. Hey, you know what though? I am clean.
I
have bathed.
You bathed.
I did because I worked outside for about 2 hours.
Yeah, because of course it is the summer. It's the summer of dirt.
Well, normally I would work until about 1, but I had to come in and do this obligation with you because you couldn't keep a co-host, outside of the family. So.
Well, he's busy.
I know he's really busy.
Maybe we can get him back soon for a visit.
Okay.
I know. It's
I know. Hard. Former students. Hard to get him in the chair.
He's like an actor.
He's
driver.
He's a Renaissance man.
Educator, daddy.
Extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
It's going to be late that you people hear this, but we are recording on Father's Day. And I have always been a proponent of fathers.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of fathers.
You should be.
Well, I am because of the lack thereof for a while.
Yeah, and you understand the importance.
And then saw others around me. Really, there are so many role models of fathers that I didn't realize at the time
that they were influencing you.
Was going to be a big influence.
Yeah, because you didn't have that.
Yeah,
for the most part.
And so all you guys that I played like Little League sports, if you listen or whatever, your dads were important. I saw them out there. You know, I didn't realize what I was getting. And you're lucky guys. I see you on Facebook, and well, happy Father's Day to everybody.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to everybody. Even to my daddy.
And I know this is going to come out on Wednesday, so granted, it's late, but deal with it.
Well, and if your father's still around, really, you got something special. So.
That's right.
And if your dad is not a daddy or not a good role model,
for moms who had to do that role too.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you got that too.
All right. The email, longintheboot@gmail.com. The phone number to reach us and leave a message if you'd like, 337, 50.
It's because you talked about changing it.
I know.
All right. Get it together, G-Long.
337-502-9011. Dang. 502-9011.
I was going to say back it up, but okay.
What?
You just start fresh.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
You haven't gotten a message. We toned it down on the last podcast, I think, and so we didn't get any like nasty messages, right?
I know, no fun messages at all, really.
You got nothing. I got nothing to use. All right. So call if you need to and you want to say something, and
that's right.
That's all you got.
Hopefully you're all enjoying your fine summer.
So far, what I see is a lot of families having a good time.
That's all that matters.
Birth announcements, people on vacations. I'm seeing lots of social media posts, and everybody seems to be having a good time with their cute kids and their wonderful families. And some of y'all, I didn't know you were going to make it this far, but good on you. And well, you know,
I don't know how I would take that.
If you were in my 8th grade class one year, you probably go, man, I was awful.
Yeah.
I was a terrible kid.
We forgive you.
We forgive you. You're a good parent now. You're doing the right
thing.
things.
If you got any travel plans or you're considering a place to go see the World War I Museum in Kansas City, Missouri, which I finally got to see. We got to see.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal.
It really was phenomenal. We went up in the Liberty Memorial Tower.
If you like the excitement of World War II and the World War II Museum in New Orleans, well, now you get to go back and see the prequel, World War I in Kansas City, Missouri.
There you go. The start of it all. Well, actually, I guess that wasn't really the start of it all either. Nothing exists in a vacuum.
All that stuff from 1870 on until the end of World War I. You could argue that it's all because Queen Victoria should have known when to stop having kids.
All right, stop procreating. Royalty.
Or her parents. Somebody. They were all related.
Somebody needed to stop that.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So we watched a documentary a while back, and we were going to base the show today talking about the qualities of crime. Bear with us.
Okay.
But something that happened in the Louisiana legislature actually is a better representation of the thing that actually started us on this path.
Yeah, injustice in the justice system.
Justice not being
served.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's enraging to people because, well, we've already done an episode on games, and everybody in the world throughout time loves games, but you know, when people don't play the game fairly, it is, well, like I said, enraging.
It really is.
You need people to play
and we have
fairly
rules.
And follow the rules.
The rules.
And there are rules in place.
You got to follow the rules.
And apparently the rules do not apply equally across the board. And, well, that is angering. So I guess our first local was a recent story about Jacob's Law.
Yeah, the legislature just finished their whatever you want to call it.
Session.
In Baton Rouge. Well, yeah, session, I guess. What did they really achieve?
Okay, well,
anyway.
We had a case a while back where, what was it, 9 men were never located. We had an accident offshore.
Yeah. In April of 2021, a lift boat capsized and 19 crewmen were never found, or 7 of the 19 crewmen were never found.
Yes.
And so we got the news that, hey, the legislature passed a new law. It's going to require that a locating beacon be on life jackets for offshore workers.
Yeah, one under the pilot seat, because it was the helicopter crash that initially, well, we'd have to go back for that one. But pilot seat, one under the aircraft, and one on each life jacket of each man or woman, if you're a woman working that job.
And now that was 2023. Everybody's like, woo!
Oh, good, they're doing something.
It's been the law since 2011.
Yeah, apparently the law had already been passed because of another case, and it's named for the young man, Jacob Matt. So it's Jacob's Law, and he was in Jennings, and he was killed in a helicopter crash in 2008, and his body was, it took them several days to locate his body. So his family pushed hard and got Jacob's Law passed. It mandated that GPS beacons for offshore aircraft travel, that everybody have
it's
a
the same law.
They've just repassed it. Amazing. They signed it unanimously, Unanimously. But it was already in place. They already had the law. The problem, of course.
But they didn't. Here's the thing. They knew how to pass the law.
They just didn't know how to enforce it.
Yeah.
And they didn't enforce it because of this reason. At the time, in 2011, GPS beacons for each life jacket would have cost $2,000.
And you can't ask a multi-billion-dollar company to spend $2,000 per beacon.
Yeah, on something
to
that
keep
may
people
never
alive.
happen.
Come on.
No, yeah, well.
You can't expect that. These are corporations, and they need to answer to their stockholders.
This is true. So now C-Corp company is going to have to pay out the wazoo
Anyway.
to these families because
they just didn't enforce the law. It wasn't cost effective.
Well,
so we're not going to enforce it. In other words, the government responsible for enforcing the law, the executive branch.
They just repassed the same damn law. It takes effect January 1 of 2024.
I ask this, is since today the beacons cost around $200, now all the companies are like, oh, this is great. We're 100% behind this law. Oh, I see. So when it was $2,000, that wasn't cost effective per human.
Yeah, but $1,800 is.
But $200 per human.
We can do that.
We can eat that cost. We'll just raise their health insurance by $10.
Yeah. Okay. So unfair. Yes.
Unfair
absolutely.
Justice system.
Unfair justice system, and our government doing, because this was John Bell Edwards at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the one that pushed the original. Yeah. And here we are. Oh, governor signed Jacob's Law Tuesday. Oh, you mean Jacob's Law 2.0? I'm sorry. This is Jacob's Law $200, not Jacob's Law $2,000. So anyhow, that's kind of what got us talking about companies and the rich, the wealthy, the famous, all getting away with things, and us little people we know would never.
Yeah.
It wouldn't fly.
And it was compounded because we watched that Murdaugh documentary.
Yes.
Where we see how long that family has gotten away with just...
Oh, my God. Yeah, the documentary was crazy enough, but the actual history when
of the
you
family,
add to
when
it...
you start looking at it, it's like the list of things this family has been subject to in the past have been... murder, wrongful death, corruption,
all prior
fraud,
to the current family,
theft, drug, and that, and alcohol related charges. There was a fatal boating accident, on and on and on. And on Netflix, they ran that weird quasi documentary. I think it was called like The Murdaugh Murders, The Southern Scandal.
I don't know. It was really interesting. I didn't watch the final episode till after they came back with his guilty charge, though. I kind of wanted to wait and see what the court said before, because I recognize that it's going to be, a little biased. But even the investigation online into the family goes far further back, because the dad, the grandfather,
they're all lawyers.
Yes, and they've controlled that region for some time.
Yeah, and so that you couldn't get away with. You had to basically. It was called Murdaugh Country.
The whole region.
Yeah, the whole region was just called Murdaugh Country. It was 5 counties.
Oh wow!
And you just didn't.
You didn't jack with the Murdaughs.
Oh, and of course, and everything below it, because if they're the judicial system, if they have a lock on that,
yes,
all it takes is to have cousins and nephews to become law enforcement.
And nepotism is going to run rampant, because you're going to put everybody in a position that you are going to utilize.
So pretty soon, I would imagine that 5-parish area
or county
or 5-county area is not just controlled by the Murdaughs. There's going to be all kinds of offshoots. It's almost like an American version of an organized crime family.
Sure. And every region, I think,
everything they're
them.
doing is legal except for the illegal stuff.
Which they're going to get away with.
Of course.
Because they are in control.
We've investigated ourselves and we have found no wrongdoing.
There's nothing wrong. Nothing to see
So
here.
we watched that and we were like, wow, that's really amazing. The justice system.
Yeah, but they're not the only people.
Oh, God, no. No.
So it got us thinking about, the rich, the famous, the powerful who have committed crimes. I mean, we all know Caitlyn Jenner, killed somebody in a car. Yeah. We have, let's see, lots of acquittals. It's not the ones who go to jail, because if you go to jail and you're punished for your crime, no matter who you are, at least we can say justice has been served. Or if you died in a weird way, street justice. You got street justice too, because sometimes karma bites you in the ass, and we're all happy with that.
But we were starting to notice that the more we read stuff, is how often fame or money or something just gets you out of trouble.
Surprisingly,
when your average poor Joe or Jane, they're going to do time.
Yeah, like Laura Bush didn't do time for her
No.
crime. Matthew Broderick didn't do. Caitlyn Jenner didn't do
I'll
any
give
time.
you one. You never heard of her, but this is a perfect example because you know good and well that they'd be way more trouble. Kate Meckler was a New York real estate agent with Warburg Realty, which is one of the biggest real estate agencies in New York.
All right.
All right. She went into Saks Fifth Avenue and she stole $1,500 worth of items. Just stole them. Now, she's rich. She's fucking
For
crazy
the thrill
rich.
of it.
When she was caught, the judge gave her 5 days of community service in a soup kitchen.
Did she do it, or did she pay somebody to go
No,
do it
that
for her?
says that she actually went and
she
did
went
it.
and did her time. Okay.
Well, you know what she did? She probably brought photographers.
Yeah.
She's rich.
Yeah.
Of course she did. Look
So
at me.
look, I'm paying
I'm
for my
helping.
crime.
I'm sorry.
I have a problem.
I'm sorry.
That's shoplifting is a disease.
Is it a disease?
If the rich do it, it is. If the poor
Yeah,
do
if
it,
the
it's
poor
because
do it,
they're
it's just 'cause
hungry.
They're rotten
They-
criminals.
They need it. Well, you know what? Martha Stewart served her time. Martha
good point.
Stewart actually served her time. So
She did.
she's been redeemed in
Mike
the eyes
Tyson
of Mike
served his
Tyson.
time.
Even though I don't think he did anything wrong, but
Yeah,
you know,
opinion.
it is my opinion. Don't go to a man's
The
hotel
courts
room.
said that he did it.
Her dad testified against her
I know.
that she was
Yeah,
just
I get-
after money.
Yeah, well,
Any woman knows if you're going to go up to a man's hotel room when he says, "I got to make a phone call," and you're in a limo with a phone,
Yeah.
and just you know you're going to have sex.
Yeah.
That's what I got to say. So
Well, you would think
if you're
so.
concerned with your safety and you don't want to have sex with this man, don't go to his hotel room. So there, I said that. Okay, didn't have anything to do with what she was wearing. She just went upstairs. She shouldn't have gone upstairs.
Shouldn't have done it?
No, all
Nope.
right. But the rich, the famous, and powerful who don't serve time, those are the ones that I have a problem with.
Like,
Like, well,
give me one.
Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg. He was acquitted on
Are you attacking Snoop?
accessory to murder. He served time
Hey,
for
man.
cocaine, but
You can't be attacking the Snoop, man.
well, you know, rumors of assault, murder all around him. He was in and out of prison for other things, but then, he got accused of killing along with his bodyguard. Ultimately, it was decided that Snoop was the driver and therefore had not fired the shot, and his bodyguard was the one charged with the murder. So he was acquitted. You know,
Yeah.
he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg was my first one. They found him not guilty, and
That's ridiculous.
the family of course came in with a wrongful death lawsuit, and then guess what happened? As many of these cases
Settled?
settled out of court for an undisclosed
Undisclosed
sum
amount, yeah,
of
sealed.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a decision. It's a smart one usually. If you have money.
I'm going to skip R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Because I think he ultimately did end up getting back. That, like, he was acquitted early on, and then I think they went ahead and
Well, I think that Dave Chappelle covered it pretty well.
he did so much better
with
than
his
we.
song.
Yeah.
How about the? There was a good one. He's not an American citizen, but so what? It's still the same kind of justice. In fact, I think this issue is more economic, and I think that in all countries you have different standards. But there's this guy
Yes,
named,
that's true.
I don't know if y'all remember, you don't remember, Oscar Pistorius.
Oh,
the Blade
I do.
Runner.
The Blade guy, yes.
Yeah, he became famous because he was a double amputee, and he had blades put on that made him look like that
That chick in the
Kingsman.
Kingsman movie.
And
yeah.
Anyway, he became known as the Blade Runner. Well, at some point along the way, he shot and killed his wife.
Yeah,
their house.
She was in the bathroom, hiding in the bathroom, I believe.
She was in the bathroom.
Yes.
An interior room with no escape. He shot her through the door.
See, so he didn't know he was going to hit her.
He claims that he thought an intruder was trying to get in.
In their bathroom.
That was his claim.
In the bathroom.
In a bathroom where there was no egress.
And she was in there.
She was in
Probably
there.
screaming.
Probably screaming because he
Yes.
was freaking out or something. And this is the only way he could get her to shut up.
I wonder if this was a case of steroids.
Honey, you have to shut up or I swear to God, I'm going to shoot you through this door. Anyway, he did. And his defense was that he thought it was an intruder trying to break in.
Yeah, okay.
From this interior room.
Well, wait, was he acquitted then?
Well, he only was given 5 years.
Okay, for her murder.
For her murder.
Because maybe he was telling the truth. Is that what the jury determined? Perhaps he really did think somebody was else was in the bathroom.
I think it's because he was famous. He was in South Africa. He had money.
Oh, yeah.
And he was able to buy
his way
a nice
out.
Light sentence.
And really, this is what we're saying.
And I think he only served like 2 years of it.
And then he's out?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he hasn't come back and he has not done the cycle as America will. Sometimes we'll give him, creds again.
Yeah.
And we'll say,
absolutely.
all right, we forgive you. Snoop Dogg, for instance.
Yep.
That all of that has gone away. Snoop is now the darling of the rap world, I guess.
Well,
friends with Martha Stewart, who served her time like she was supposed to for, lying to the FBI, obstruction of justice.
Dun, 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 dun.
There's another big case right now going on with the lying to the FBI, obstruction of justice.
That's the one that'll get you.
Somebody famous, but I can't remember. I think he's actually powerful, famous, and wealthy.
Ooh, all of them?
Yeah.
Man.
I don't think that you can have one without the other. I think they all three go together, but that they keep using those three phrases as I look for, acquittals.
Yeah. Well, as we researched this too, with all these people getting off light, one of the things that became really clear, and this is going to shock you. This will shock you. The more money you have, the less likely you are to get in trouble.
Oh.
I know, it's shocking. A revelation. Okay. Or
to get suicided like Epstein, perhaps. Epstein had all of those things, but he also had a lot of information on people that didn't want their names revealed. So he got suicided, I think.
Suicided.
Yes, that does happen.
And but the system itself does have a lot of issues, and I think that's
the justice system.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think what you're seeing here is, notice we're talking about people who, for the most part, have money, because how many people could you talk about at the other end of the spectrum who are in jail who didn't really do anything wrong?
Well, yeah, but nobody's interested in that.
Right.
We're not interested in the small people. We're interested in people whose names we know.
Yeah.
And they've lowered themselves to the level of petty criminals, and yet.
But our government makes it happen too.
Oh, absolutely.
Like if you go, let's say you get I don't know, let's say you and your wife get into an argument and you leave and you're not supposed to come back, and then you have another altercation and she's got a court order against you.
A restraining order?
Right.
Oh,
okay,
a kill me order?
Now you have to go to court.
Okay.
And court costs money. There's court costs involved. In 38 states, if you get a court debt of any kind, it doesn't matter what it is, a court debt, they can take your driver's license.
Well, why didn't they take OJ's? He had already had several domestic
maybe
issues.
It's not one of the 38 states.
California?
Yeah.
They don't protect their women in California?
I don't know. It's not just about women. Any court debt, doesn't matter what it is.
Okay.
Let's say you forget to pay your property tax. They can just take your driver's license.
All right.
But
how often do they do it, though?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, but
remember, it's any court debt. Like if you're brought in for being late on rent by your landlord.
Yeah, and they file some sort of injunction to you. Yes.
And
usually you don't know about any of that stuff until you go to try to sell your property, or you get picked up for something else, or I don't know. I don't break the rules. I follow the damn rules.
But good and well that it does come down heavily on poorer communities, these kind of bill payment
Yes, the people who can least afford to pay it.
Right. So, okay, $300 or 10 days. Well, if they don't have $300,
I'm serving the 10 days. I get 2 meals a day or whatever.
But if you go serve those 10 days, now it's on your record.
Yeah.
And if you do have a job, you're going to lose it.
You're going to lose your job.
Because no job is going to hold for you.
Probably not.
That's what I'm saying. That's
okay, but I don't really want to talk about that.
Well, I know, but that's the justice system in a nutshell that lets you know what they're really.
Yes. It's about the money.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Always follow the money.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, no, go. I thought you had one.
Robert Richards.
Oh, are you okay? So I do have that because it started with the multimillionaire John DuPont, right? He was convicted of murdering an Olympic wrestler who lived on his property, had worked for DuPont for many years.
Yeah.
And his family lived on the property. It wasn't like there was some kind of weird hinky thing, you know. Anyway, so John DuPont did shoot him. He just drove up and said, you know, do you have a problem with me? And boom, 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 shot him. And so he was found not capable of, you know, he was mentally unstable. So he went to prison. Well, the DuPont money has to go to somebody, and it went to that guy Richards. Wait, what was his name? Robert H. Richards IV. Okay. I don't know how Robert H. Richards IV is related to the DuPont family, but he became the inheritor of multi-millions of dollars, right?
Good for him.
Okay. He was acquitted on his charges. Did you want to do his charges, or did you want me to?
Well, I can.
Because it's pretty horrific.
You do the charges, because I only have a general just, he did this.
Okay.
Because one of the charges is worse. Well,
yeah, it's horrible.
It's horrible.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So he was convicted of repeatedly raping his own daughter when she was a toddler. He had told her not to tell anybody. As a 5-year-old, she told her grandmother because she's 5,
Yay.
so she doesn't understand. So they took her to the pediatrician where she said what was going on, and then he was arrested. He initially denied the charges and asked for a lie detector test.
As you would.
Yes, because you want to prove your innocence. That's horrific to say this about such a man who has millions of dollars. He failed the polygraph that he requested. So he should have gone to jail at that point. That did not happen. So his high-priced lawyers, you know, were able to reduce the charges to 4th-degree rape, you know, like a statutory rape. Like
not rape.
No, not rape. Like as if she was almost old enough to go, yeah, okay. And they reduced it down to 8 years in prison. That wasn't the end, of course, because this man's not going to serve 8 years in prison.
No, he's rich. Stop it.
The court found that he would not, and this is the quote, fare well in prison.
No.
The court decided, the judge said, he's not going to do well in jail because he's a multimillionaire.
And
so
he's a child rapist.
We are going to suspend the sentence. He served no time. He got probation. He had to register as a sex offender, and he had to pay $4,395 to the Delaware Violent Crimes Compensation
Wait, say that amount again.
$4,395.
My God.
Very specific, considering that his worth was $14.5 billion.
So probably like .000000000.
His home was 1.8 million. Yeah, $14.5 billion. And it gets weirder.
No.
Now, none of this that I just told you was revealed until 2014. So this was all sealed.
All of this.
When his ex-wife filed a civil suit. Civil suits what gets them. Civil suits are really what come in. The justice system, it's not until they get the civil suit. So all these records came out. The earlier court documents came to light in 2014 when his ex filed that civil suit. She and several probation officers believed that he had been raping his 19-month-old son.
Egad.
Yes. So he, yeah.
Okay.
He was acquitted on all of this, though. He did not serve.
So what finally ended up happening to him?
That's the end of the story.
No.
Yeah.
There has to be more.
Well, that's all I got. My story's ended there.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, because of a civil suit.
Oh, that's just
at the
nuts.
most, then, unless they charged him again with the son's molestation, he just probably paid his ex-wife the money and got out of it.
Because he wouldn't fare well.
I know. Did anybody want to bring up Kobe Bryant?
Well,
I know he's dead. But.
He did get convicted.
Oh, did he? The second time?
Yeah. Yes. And 8 years of probation. Ooh.
Oh, that was the first case, though. That's the one he was initially 8 years. So you need something after 2014.
Oh, well, that's as far as this one goes, too.
See? That's because he just paid his money and went on to the next ride.
Robert Richards IV. Well, we should have looked him up a little more, I think.
Well, I had so many people. It was
I know,
like, how much
it's
time
really
do you
hard.
spend on anybody? Do you want to talk about Kobe? Kobe paid off that girl. Poor little 19-year-old.
No. Oh, you know who I
There
wanna
was
talk about?
evidence.
Even though this is not anybody you've probably heard of, it is worth talking
Well,
about.
I hadn't heard of the Richards guy.
No, this guy is named Issei Sagawa.
See, you're going to foreigners. This
don't
is
care.
supposed to be people who are famous.
This guy is famous. He was very famous, just not in America.
Oh, well, I don't care about foreigners.
No, you're going to like this. This is fun. Issei Sagawa was born to wealthy parents, surprise, and led a fairly privileged life. You know, he's Japanese. He was reportedly interested in cannibalism from an early age.
Okay.
But it wasn't until, I told you, I had you at cannibalism.
Yeah, you did. All
But
right.
it wasn't until his early 30s when he would finally act on it. He was studying in France and had lured a classmate named Renee Hartvelt to his home under the premises that he needed help learning German. When they were alone together, he killed her by shooting her in the back of the head and then had sex with her corpse and then began
all right.
preparing her body for consuming. Yeah, I know. But that's not all. Oh, no. It goes even further. Hang on one second.
Well, you're already making me wait. You're stuttering. You're dragging it out.
Oh, gosh darn it.
Well,
All
you
right.
get me cannibalism, and now the body's ready. What did he start with? Eyes?
Oh, it doesn't actually give you the details
Oh,
of
well, damn.
Well, it doesn't give you the menu.
Were there
Anyway,
fava beans?
he was eating her body, and then as the body began to smell, apparently refrigeration
Well, he didn't
was beyond
eat
him.
quick enough. Yeah.
He packed the pieces in a suitcase and planned to dispose of it in the park. But when he was walking in the park, everybody could smell the suitcase.
Yeah, I guess so.
He was then placed in a mental hospital in France.
All right. I
And
agree with that.
He was determined to be too crazy to put on trial, so France deported him back to Japan.
And what did the Japanese do with
The
him?
Japanese said, well, we want to try him, and what we need are all the documents you have and all the evidence and everything else to France, and France wouldn't provide it to Japan.
Why would they not give it to him?
Nobody
To
seems
the
to
home
know.
country.
Nobody seems to know.
Oh, he paid somebody.
So the Japanese released him. And
did he do it again?
no, but
That's-
he continues to advertise
For
for
women.
a woman willing to allow him to consume them.
So you're telling me he hasn't gotten one? Is he like Craigslisting it? And
Who knows? I just think,
I feel like there's at least one woman out there who would go, yeah, all right.
yeah, well,
Just a leg, though. Just a leg.
and oh, by the way, I should point out too that Robert Richards was ordered by the court to seek mental counseling.
Health counseling?
And he ordered by the judge to do it, and
Did he?
no, he's never ever gone to a single therapy
Because he doesn't think there's anything wrong with him because he's rich. And obviously, if you've got money, then God has favored you.
Yes, that's true.
That's what the Puritans would have thought.
And before I leave Sagawa, one final
You already did. You went back to Richards.
well, but one final bit of information. He went to the magazine Vice and described everything that he did.
So they interviewed him and he laid it all
Yes.
out.
And
So, see, we could get the menu.
he said, when he asked if he had any regrets, he said, "You can't imagine how difficult it is to live under surveillance from society."
Oh, dear God. What year was this? Because we all live under surveillance.
Well, this is not that long ago. I don't have the exact date. The first victim, he ate in 1981.
All right. I was a junior in high school,
Yeah, but this has been going on quite some time.
apparently.
You know,
And again, if you can pay your way out of it, then you're allowed to do it.
yeah. And we have that girl, of course, recently who hit the people in
the
car,
golf cart.
and she just doesn't understand why
and listening
she's
to
in
her,
trouble.
yeah, she's
still-
kind of the same, but she's not rich or famous.
Well,
she's entitled.
Entitled.
Yes,
So
it's a sense of entitlement.
entitlement has
That
taken
I
the place
think-
of money.
I
maybe?
think because I think social media and all of the surveillance, I think everybody wants to be, naked and famous.
naked and
And
famous.
so that gives you that sense of entitlement. Well, I have 1 million followers. They want to see me.
Yeah.
So I get to do whatever I want to do. I mean, look, people set up scenes for their little social media content creations. They go to the Grand Canyon and they try to get a great shot, and then they fall off.
Sure.
Now you're in history, right? Now
But you're famous.
But you're famous because
Yay.
everybody's watched you. Another famous acquittal, and I think our listening community might be a little young for this, but Robert Blake started on The Little Rascals. We watched him on The Little Rascals as a kid.
Yep.
And then he went on to Beretta. He was on Beretta. I watched Beretta. I loved his cockatiel.
For you young people, Beretta was a police procedural that was quite popular in the 1970s due to the owning of a bird by the main character, Beretta.
Oh, and he was in the movie Cold Blood.
And his bird was named Fred.
Was it really a male, though? We talked about this the other day.
You know what?
I think a lot of the animals.
It's up to the bird to decide.
I think a lot of animals, like Lassie, wasn't a boy.
That's true.
Or he was a boy. He wasn't a girl.
Or he was a boy.
There you go.
Yeah. They used males.
I haven't looked all this up, but
Right.
Mr. Fred
and Mr. Ed wasn't actually talking. They were putting peanut butter on his lips, and that's
making him chomp. Okay, so Beretta.
Okay. Anyway,
Beretta.
He was cool.
Robert Blake. He was very cool when we were young. So he got away with murder. It was a very bizarre case, too. It started with his wife, Bonnie Bakley. Well, let's just start with her because her track record of husbands was kind of problematic. She had been married 10 times.
She was narrowing it down.
Yeah, I guess so. She had a reputation for using her partner. She was a grifter. And for all you that don't recognize that those people are out there.
Oh, they're real.
Black widow, a lot of times they're called grifters, women, black widows.
Oh, yeah.
Their whole goal is to use you. Suck you dry.
There's guys that do it too.
And not in a good way.
It's both. Grifters just exist.
Yes. And they always have.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So she would connect with any celebrities for money that she could. Things weren't ideal when they got married. It was a DNA testing that revealed that her newborn daughter was Robert Blake. So he went ahead and married her. Right.
As an honorable man.
Because he was he was from the old school.
Sure.
But no one could have predicted that their marriage was going to end in murder.
Murder.
Okay, so
murder most foul.
According to Blake, his wife was in a car outside a restaurant, in their car, outside a restaurant in Studio City, California, while he went into the restaurant to get his gun.
As you would.
You don't want to leave your gun in the restaurant. So California, 2001.
Pardon me, I've left my gun.
I'm sorry.
Did anyone find my gun?
Okay. So while he went into the restaurant to retrieve his gun, she was in the car alone, and she was shot by an assailant whose identity remains a mystery.
To this very day.
Okay, so clearly he couldn't have shot her because he wasn't out there, didn't have his gun.
Had a perfect alibi.
How does it get any better? I didn't have my gun. I wasn't out there.
Well, why'd you race into this? Well, I left my gun. I didn't want anybody to get hurt. So that's why I wasn't in the car. And then just some guy, random rando just came up and shot her in the head.
The murder weapon was not her or his. He didn't have any gunshot residue on his hands or his weapon. So
he was nowhere near the vehicle.
Two different men, both admitted that they had been hired by Robert Blake to kill her. The prosecution's case was pretty strong, but the defense emphasized, well, you know what? These two men are drug users. They're drug users.
So they couldn't be telling the truth.
It discredited their stories.
That's all it took.
That's all it took. So, in 2005, they found
I bet drug users would be very offended by that use.
That is enough to throw them out.
To justify something.
The jury found him not guilty, and in keeping what we've seen, all these famous acquittals, litigation reached a different conclusion. The jury in a civil suit filed by her children. I wonder how many kids she had. If she had 10 husbands, how many children?
Who knows?
We know she had one with Blake.
Well, was she having babies with each one? Oh, was that her grift? Because that seems like a ponderous.
That's extreme.
That's an extreme grift.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look that up. Anyway, her children filed a civil suit, which is always what happens. Ask
Of
OJ.
course.
And they found him liable for wrongful death. I don't really know how. He was ordered to pay $30 million in 2008. That was upheld, but they reduced his penalty to $15 million. He had to file bankruptcy. I don't know that they've seen a dime.
So previous kids of hers filed a suit to ruin her kid with Robert Blake.
I guess.
I mean, in the end.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. So, the rich and powerful are not exempt from tragedy.
Oh, yeah.
They usually can pay their way out of it, but
They're
ultimately,
a bunch of buttheads. That's what
ultimately, did you want to do the most? I mean, I've got Michael Jackson too. That cost him a fortune.
All of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, that was a convoluted case. Let's not do him.
No,
okay. He paid, he did ultimately before his death pay as much as $200 million to as many as 20 families.
Yeah.
He was not found guilty of anything. However, I would say all of those parents are guilty of letting their small boys spend the night at a man's house in his bed because he had money.
Yeah, it's all very weird.
It's a very hinky story too. I get very angry when we have children as victims because it's your job as a parent to protect your child.
Yeah,
and I don't care who it is. You're not spending the night in a man's bed.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it was all very weird. The most famous.
It's really, but it's not even. I don't even think it's about famous. Celebrities are part of it, but almost always celebrities are rich, and it's totally economic.
Well, yeah.
In the end, all of it, because the things that people get away with, they don't have to be famous. But one of my favorites was a case. Ethan Couch. Remember Ethan Couch? This is like 10 years ago.
Vaguely. Our community won't.
Ethan Couch, his parents took off on some kind of trip. He was 16.
Left him at home.
And he began throwing parties at the house on a regular basis.
As teenagers are wont to do.
In 2014,
his parents had money? They were wealthy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was drunk driving. He killed 4 people. His defense was, I love this. He was suffering from affluenza.
Oh. Well, why don't we use that word today? Affluenza.
We do now. It's become a...
Oh, it's actually...
This is the case.
Okay. I already understand what the word means.
Affluent means you're rich and influential. Yeah. And the lawyer said, because he was suffering from the disease of affluenza...
Oh, it's a disease.
He was so pampered that he couldn't even comprehend the consequences of his actions.
So his parents had coddled him to the point that he had a disease.
He promised a lawsuit against the parents for their neglect.
Oh, he filed a lawsuit against his parents?
No. His lawyer promised it. The judge ate it up. Ethan Couch did not go to jail. Instead, they gave him 10 years probation and told him he had to go to rehab. 4 people he killed.
Did the parents, the families of those 4 people redeem any justice? Did they get anything?
No. The lack of any real punishment sparked an outcry against white privilege. That was the first big white privilege case.
I see.
Despite the fact that he got off, Couch violated his probation. He dyed his hair black, grew a beard, and ran away to Mexico to avoid jail time.
Oh,
he was then captured and sent back at 19 and went to prison. But he is only going to have to serve 2 years.
Because he violated his probation.
Correct.
So he's not being punished for
the murder.
He's being punished for a violation of probation.
Right.
So did he go down to Mexico and live a wealthy, affluent life?
Well, I guess he lived long enough.
Must have known that
they had to be there.
They had to be
in on it. I mean, come on.
Okay, but they were never.
But he was the first big white privilege case where.
But even the judge should be reprimanded.
What is the judge doing with the other guy, Richards, who raped the child?
I know.
Oh, he wouldn't do well in prison.
Why? Because he doesn't have access to a child?
He suffers from a disease, Deb. He has
You know what?
Affluenza.
I think the pharmaceutical industry needs to get on board and get us some pills for affluenza so that we can OD these fuckers.
Hello,
Oh, I'm
I'm
sorry.
Bob Smith from Pfizer. Have you had the urge to rape small children? Perhaps kill your ex-wife or mother-in-law? Well, we have the pill for you.
Do you want to go down the list of the Kennedys who have done horrific things, or do we leave the Kennedys alone because they've done good things too?
Well, I just think it's kind of been done. I mean,
All
okay,
right.
Edward Kennedy drove his car into the water,
Mary
killed his
Jo,
secretary.
yeah, because she was pregnant. We all knew that.
We got the
I grew up with that story.
other one. Not Cleckley. Oh, what was his name? Michael Skakel.
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 Oh, the cousin?
When he was 15, yeah, he was accused of beating another 15-year-old girl to death in his house with a golf club.
No time.
And the case never really resolved. It just
He said he didn't do it.
right. He said he didn't do it.
But somehow she died by
She
golf
did.
club, so
And
somebody did something.
Somebody did a thing.
Okay. Wow.
Hang on. I'll just do it. I will go to it.
What do you mean you'll go to it?
Well, I had it and I lost the link.
Oh, because we were talking about, I guess, community. Really, what we're trying to let you know here is that the social norm of fairness and justice is unequal in our country, as if you didn't know that. And I don't want you to be so angry about it as I feel like
I'm not angry about it. I just find the whole thing.
Well, I think it needs to be talked about. I think we need to push it more and more. And it's not about white privilege.
Well,
so
nobody
much
pays
as
attention to it anymore.
No, because of the types of crimes they commit. But when they start committing child molestation and murder, those are above white collar crimes, and those crimes need to be punished across the board equally. Just because you have access to a wealthy lawyer. I want citizens to cry out. You got social media platforms. You need to be talking about that. You need to say it.
I almost forgot. Okay, so the Kennedys, besides the regular Kennedys, William Kennedy Smith, that's the one.
I remember his case.
He was accused of rape by a girl.
Real rape.
Rape. When he was 30 years old. And basically he got off. I mean, they
well, because they turned the woman into...
He was acquitted of all charges, even though everything. She just said that it had not been consensual, and because of who he is.
It was, well, because you know how those cases go with women. I mean, the women are always turned into, what's the word I want? Whores, sluts. And so they got what they were asking for. And judges most often are wanting to believe the men because, they're men.
Yeah. And in 2004, a former employee of the Center for International Rehabilitation alleged that Smith had sexually assaulted her in 1999 and brought a civil action against him. Civil. Smith denied her charge, calling them outrageous, saying the family impersonation made me unusually vulnerable to these kinds of charges. He later resigned from the organization. A spokesman for the organization later acknowledged that 2 separate federal sexual harassment claims against Smith by former employees of CIR had been settled amicably.
Oh, of course. With money, I'm
Money.
sure.
Yeah, of course, it's always money.
But then that puts the pressure on. This is like the poor girl with Kobe Bryant. She was 19. Ultimately, she would not testify after they had gotten their evidence and there was DNA and blood and, so they had all of that. But by the time it actually came to court, she wouldn't testify, and she took the money.
Yeah.
And who is going to say, somebody's got to stand up and say, no, it's not about the money. They need to be punished. And that never happens because money is king in America.
Well,
or across the world, I'm sure.
Justice, you get the justice you can pay for.
There you go. That needs to be our new... That needs to be our scales of justice. That needs to be our motto.
It's in society, there are structures in place that allow things to happen that are pretty crazy. There was a Baltimore County cop, Westerman is his last name, who was found guilty and convicted of raping a woman and assaulting another, right? He's a cop.
Okay.
But a judge decided that he's serving a sentence of 4 years at his home was more appropriate punishment than prison, despite the violent nature of his crime.
Why? Because if they put him in prison, he might be attacked by the people he
Yeah.
in jail. I
guess.
actually think that's a helicopter or a plane that we're hearing.
Oh, is that what that is?
It's outside of us.
Is it?
You're not hearing it now.
No. It was weird, though. It was like, what is that? Okay.
I heard.
Anyway, so
It's justice coming down on you.
so basically, the idea that jail time wasn't appropriate for him. I mean, first of all, he worked for the police department. That was actually so we can't just send him to prison.
It's very complicated.
Well, it turns out that you're going to love this. His sentence came days after after a judge decided that this guy Christopher Belter, also police, he raped a girl, and the judge decided that jail time wasn't appropriate for these crimes because they were not suitable for prison punishment.
So rape isn't if you rape, you don't need to go to prison. Huh.
Yeah. There's some really weird ones. Clearly, race plays a big part also in.
Okay. Yeah, but we don't want to go there because it's too complex. It is too complex. And this is what angers me, really, because justice, are there laws on the book?
Is there a law?
Is there a law?
Yeah.
What are the sentences? And that should be that. It should be black and white.
It should be.
Justice is the one thing that in this country should be clearly delineated, and everybody serves time for these crimes. But clearly, as we saw with our opening story, there could be a law in place, but it just doesn't get enforced.
Yeah.
So thoughts and prayers don't mean a damn thing if you've been raped, molested,
thoughts and prayers,
shot.
Well, look, in Lake Charles, we just had that woman was involved in the Emmett Till case, finally died. Everybody was like, oh, I can't believe she was in the local area.
Well, yeah, she was hiding.
Well, sure.
She was hiding out. So now that we've established
the problem.
Yeah, and there are just so many.
How do we fix it?
So many.
We don't.
Throughout history, so many cases.
It's not going to be fixed because you know what? I guarantee you this has been happening throughout history.
Well,
forever.
we actually know it has. Are you ready for the actual Department of Justice?
Sure, hit me with your stats, baby.
All right. Well, this is on the Department of Justice government site, right? It's a part of their virtual library, and I came across this the other day when talking about this subject, that the rich get richer and the poor get prison.
Yeah,
this is their title: Ideology, Class, and Criminal Justice. So, in an attempt to understand the failure of the American criminal justice system and its war against crime, the Department of Justice did a study that focuses on the dimensions, causes, and moral implications of an ideological failure of the justice system.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
You have the same story. I sent it to you because I said, you have to read this too. And this is really just an abstract of a 200-plus page study that was released. Do you want to say the year this was released?
1979.
All right. So in 79, they said that the current justice system is shaped by economic bias. Crimes unique to the wealthy are either ignored or treated lightly, while the so-called common crimes of the poor lead to arrest, charges, conviction, and imprisonment. So the three things that support that statement. The first is that society fails to protect people from crimes they fear, homicide, burglary, assault, by refusing to alleviate the poverty that breeds them. So in 1979, the justice system understood that in order to help these people, they needed to alleviate the poverty in those communities.
Well, it's that poverty breeds those three things.
Yes.
The most feared crimes.
Homicide, burglary, and assault.
What else is there?
Those are all generally resulting from I want what you have. Or we're
drug and alcohol,
and I still need
abuse.
What you have
in
order to alleviate my drug addiction or whatever.
Right.
Okay, so they understand that alleviating poverty in those communities. The second was that the criminal justice system is failing to protect people from the most serious dangers by not defining as a crime the acts of the rich, white collar crimes. They even cite
pollution, occupational hazards. So these are like companies that don't provide beacons on their life jackets.
Yes.
Those people,
or they're poisoning the
don't
well
get in
water.
trouble.
Or their school, the entire area is poisoned by chemicals.
Right.
And they all
if
know
it's white collar crime, if there's not the same type of victim, and the crime is imposed by some powerful entity,
yes,
then those aren't viewed as dangerous acts.
And the justice system recognizes that, and they don't define them. So they need to define those as crimes.
Right. So like in Flint, Michigan.
And prosecute.
They would have arrested you and tried you immediately if you murdered somebody. But if you murdered thousands and thousands and thousands of people slowly,
yes, through chemical
with poison
poisoning
and lead in the water, that's not as serious.
We're not going to worry about that.
That's right.
Okay, so that's a huge problem, well, yes. And we live in the cancer, one of the cancer capitals.
Yes,
down here. So
and the third one. Let's do the third one.
All right.
By virtue of these and other failures, the criminal justice system succeeds in creating the image that crime is almost exclusively the work of the poor. An image that serves the interests of the powerful. By focusing on individual criminals who are poor, the system diverts attention from the injustices of social and economic institutions. I'm sure somebody right now going, sounds like socialism.
I know. I feel like we have to say that again.
The failure to reduce crime reinforces this situation by concentrating fear and hostility on the poor. At the base of unequal justice is the unequal distribution of wealth and income. And think about a lot of these crimes in the inner city that were really heavily punished in the 80s when the drug war started. These people were selling drugs because they didn't have any other way to make real money at that time. There just weren't available. Anybody that wants to argue about that is
there's no jobs in the inner city. There's not even a damn grocery store.
The cities were traps that had collapsed.
They can't get anywhere.
Yeah, okay. So it's American history. Look it up. Anyway, so that's the basis for the unequal application of justice.
The justice system understands the problem. They've cited 3 main points that are all things that can be worked on.
Yes.
Okay, do you want to get to the law enforcement?
Wait, though.
Oh, okay.
Let's continue, because I'm going to give you the thing that will totally just people will go, that's it. I ain't listening no more.
We're reading the government abstract.
I know, but a criminal justice system cannot hold individuals guilty of the injustice of breaking the law if the law itself supports and defends an unjust social order.
Oh, well, you're just going to have a riot there.
To counteract this failure, this is, not my words.
I know, I read it too.
Steps must be taken towards domestic disarmament, criminalization of white-collar crimes, creation of a correctional system that promotes human dignity and gives ex-offenders a real opportunity to go straight, a more reasonable exercise of power by police officers, prosecutors, and judges, and equal access to high-quality legal expertise for all individuals accused of crime. Okay, so those 4 sentences undo everything they just
said. I understand.
And it's a shame.
It is.
Because you're not going to have domestic disarmament.
No, you're not
in this country.
No, because the system's not just, and we know we need our own protection.
Right.
I mean, as a woman, I'm not getting raped by a rich guy because I'm going to have a weapon.
There you go.
I'm going to defend myself.
And maybe don't go to a hotel room with them.
And I'm not going to go upstairs in a hotel room with my date. No. Criminalization.
Unless you want to get busy.
Actually, but some of these things they could do without domestic disarmament. I mean, criminalizing white collar crimes and actually putting these people in jail.
Well, we already know that the crime bill in the 80s, the drug war began.
Oh,
and then when crack became...
Who was it? Edwin Meese?
Yeah, when crack became endemic.
Yes.
Black males were rounded up disproportionately to every other crime.
Go watch
because of the way crack laws were prosecuted. Crack was viewed as the same as powder cocaine.
Go watch New Jack City.
Yeah.
New Jack City explains it.
It really does.
It does. I'm not joking. I remember Cabrini Green.
Probably not for kids.
No, don't let your children watch.
Unless you want to teach them something. But
not yet.
They'll learn a lot.
Okay.
But anyway, so That's the issue. It's this constant thing. Anyway, that's what got us on. It was Murdaugh. How did his family get away with so much so easily? And then you just start going and going, man.
And there it is. There it is. Since the 1920s, that family ran those 5 counties and controlled everything.
But I guarantee you, they had I'll guarantee you that the poorest people in those 5 counties, the dirt poor types, probably got railroaded constantly.
Oh, I'm sure, because it keeps the system working. It keeps them in power.
It keeps them down.
And it keeps the poor down and the rich where they need to be. So our justice system understands the problems, and they, as opposed to actually trying to help people, help communities.
That's not the Justice Department's job.
No, it's not. But they're in a position where they have the entities that could do it. America has the money. I know that we could do better.
Well,
and it's not socialism to help communities to lift them
better?
out of poverty.
True.
It's not socialism to make sure that people have clean drinking water.
It is if you get the government to use tax dollars to pay for it.
Can we use a couple of the lottos across the country?
No.
Can we just use those and let's not give it to one? Let's give a Jackson, Mississippi clean drinking water.
The problem is the government is so dysfunctional at the application of money. That's what it comes down to. There's no reason for Jackson, Mississippi to have a water system that doesn't function.
That they can't drink. They can't bathe in it. They can't bathe. This is America.
It's Mississippi. There's water everywhere.
Okay, now you sound like these people.
Well, no, but it's
ridiculous. I agree.
This is government. Exactly. The government caused the very problem that the government should fix, but the government's not going to fix it. It's just like...
And they're not going to fix it because they're the white-collar criminals.
All the people in Jackson that didn't want to have these kind of problems moved to Pearl. And took their tax base with them. So now there's no tax base to pay for anything. And so that's...
I recognize that it's a much larger problem, but...
I don't think we're going to solve this today.
I don't think we're going to solve this. And I didn't really mean for us to go off on a more serious topic. It's so ridiculous that it's
I will say
sad
there's nothing
and
funny about any of this.
No, except the injustice.
Stop it.
You stop it.
Okay.
Community, he's looking at me like I did something wrong. Bella's not even barking. She's probably asleep. Bella went on vacation.
Serious, maybe.
Bella went on vacation with
Bella
us,
was a good traveling
and
companion.
she was a great traveling dog. Otto had to stay here because he's a crotchety old German, and he's a little too old to travel.
It's too long.
He doesn't travel well anyway.
He's a terrible
terrible companion.
Anyway, so we're not going to fix this anytime soon.
No, we're not.
It was just really the examples.
If you have a crime perpetuated upon you by somebody rich and powerful, stand up and shout it.
Maybe the problem is
don't take the check.
Maybe the problem is the reason we've lost faith in government and
all the institutions,
role models and institutions is because they are treated so differently before our very eyes.
Yes.
They're not being punished for doing the things that poor people would be hammered by.
Yes.
I mean, it's that simple.
I understand Europe and all the history over there.
Trump and his documents, I don't care. Biden and his documents, I don't really care.
But if you lie to the FBI, Martha Stewart, you go to jail. But if you
lie to the FBI, you should go to jail because it's illegal. Don't do it.
Period. All of them.
It's very simple. And did Martha Stewart deserve to go to prison? Absolutely not. I'm shocked that she went at all.
I know of all the but they made an example, but they don't make enough examples.
But Martha Stewart, you've got the Hillary Clinton server issue.
Oh, it's just
she had a server and they said, oh yeah, blah blah blah. If we don't see the role models and the leaders of our country held to account, then we cannot have a belief in the institutions functioning the way they were supposed to function when they were created.
And when that happens, society gets angry and they try to fix it in the only way they know how. They want it to go back, and we know it can't go back.
No, it won't go back. And then you get the other side wants you to just throw money at it, thinking money's the solution. Money's not. People are the solution.
People with money can be the solution.
They can help.
If they're going to not worry about their
The problem
Bottom
is the
line,
government
so
wants to
much.
be in charge of a lot of this, and it's going to take independent people doing it for their
Yeah.
local communities.
Yeah.
It's the only way it's going to happen.
Grassroots again.
Yeah.
Go back to grassroots because the top is
Yep.
bugger all.
Bugger all down here on Earth.
That it is. That it is.
All right.
All right. So the end there, straight from the government's mouth. Sad as it is, the rich get richer and the poor go to jail.
But remember, you can always trust the president to say something that you will find humorous at least once. And honestly, I think this week, God Save the Queen may be perhaps the funniest thing.
Oh,
And
let Joe go sit on his porch, please. Just let him go be grandpa.
No. Joe Biden has all of his faculties. He is perfectly aware of what he's saying.
Oh, lies!
It's just not accountable. No.
Hey, God save the Queen.
He can't be accountable. Okay.
And a stitch in time makes the porridge hot. And remember the Alamo? No joke.
Okay, that's your joke. I just want everybody to understand that. That last part is his joke because he thinks it's funny.
I just can't get past it.
I know. Well, we got to get past it because we promised that we want to leave our community feeling good and positive. And then we brought all this injustice in front of them, and we said, "Here, look at all these people who were rich and famous, and they did things and they didn't get any punishment." So
Yeah.
karma, and we want karma to work.
Yeah.
Is it going to work?
Please work.
All right.
I hope it works.
People, you got to find your own joy, and you got to take it with you because that's all we got.
And remember to just be nice to one another.
I know.
This
Do
is-
better. If you know better, do better.
Yeah.
And if you become rich and famous, don't commit a damn crime.
And give me money.
Well, if you're the victim of their crime,
Look,
perhaps.
if you are feeling guilty about having riches,
Having too much
I
damn
can help
money.
you with that.
All about. I keep trying to come up with a GoFundMe account. What can I use? What can I use? I just one day get my own GoFund.
I would like a GoFundMe account to be able to take our yard and get it completely turned
I'd like
into
to turn it
walking
into
paths.
into a park and the
park with
gardens and people
and all
could come
kinds
and
of cool
enjoy.
stuff and
See,
water.
I want to make people feel good.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That is.
Like a little Zen garden that's
I have a little Zen garden.
no, but I mean,
Yes,
one
like
that
on a big
where you
scale.
wind the paths
Oh,
through.
you could do
and you have different
miles
areas.
on
Oh,
our
yeah, I
property.
know.
Miles. And then everybody would be healthy. They would feel good. They would
Sure.
enjoy my work in the yard.
I mean, they have the walking track by the pond, but
It's not. No, my yard's
it's not
attractive.
peaceful. You're by the highway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trashing it or anything.
No, it's something for the community to use.
I like the
But
things
it is
that we
by the
saw.
highway.
Yeah,
We don't have a highway.
not yet.
We don't even have a byway.
No, we let the way decide.
Yeah.
We let the way make that decision.
That is the
high
way.
or by, whatever.
Yes. All right, we got to get out
I
of
wonder
here.
what their pronouns are.
Don't start that crap. All right, people, your joy is portable. Bring it with you. Enjoy the next 2 weeks. Belated
we
Happy
should have
Father's
a special
Day.
guest.
We are. We're going to continue with our theme of former students.
Former students and talking about their
Sitting in the
success
hot
and-
seat.
That's right, putting them in the hot seat.
All right. It's a mystery guest,
and
though.
trying to make them cry.
Mystery Day.
Going to try to get a tear. I want to be the new Barbara Walters.
You want to make him cry?
Oh, I think it'd be
Oh,
great.
I already gave away that it was a... Oh, I don't know the gender.
You don't know?
No. They will be here in 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So they
Gotcha.
in 2 weeks.
All right.
Stay tuned.
Hey.